Hello, everybody, and welcome back to On the Diamond Into the Deep. As always, I am your host, Mahal, and today we will be talking about the Mariners' 8th straight series win. This one over the Texas Rangers. We will then continue on to preview this week's massive series against the Oakland A's, who are now 2 games back of Seattle for first place in the American League West. And it's a big week in Mariners land. It was a big win over the weekend. So welcome to episode 62. And let's get into it. So, to begin, let's start where it started. Game 1, Friday night, Mariners, Bryan Woo, Jack Leiter on the mound for each team. Bryan Woo absolutely shoved 6 in the third innings, 1 hit, no runs or walks, 8 strikeouts, and Bryan Woo is having a hell of a season. The guy is eating up innings like it's nobody's business. He's throwing strikes. He's not walking anyone. He's getting strikeouts. He has been truly unbelievable, and he's been the only spot in the rotation that has truly just been solid. I mean, you know what you're going to get in, night out. I mean, just looking at innings, 6 innings, 1 run, 6 innings, 1 run, 6 innings, 4 runs, 7 innings, 1 run, 7 innings, 3 runs, 6 innings, 2 runs, 6 and a third, nothing. That's his season, okay? He's given up a total of 5, 9, 10, 12 runs over his outings. The guy is truly rolling. And he's having a hell of a season. He's not putting on a ton of base runners. He hasn't walked more than two runners in an inning. And it's really good to see. And it continued. It continued Friday night with a massive start against the Texas Rangers. His second start against them of the year. This one, he truly shoved again. That one, the first start, he threw 7 innings, gave up a run on 6 hits. This one, he only gave up 1 hit over 6 and a third. And the guy is locked in. Like, there's no other way to put it. He's been a mainstay for your rotation. He's been truly just clutch there, and it's been so good to see. The rest of that game, the offense truly rolled. The Mariners rolled to a huge blowout win, 13-1 win. Really could have been 13-0, could have been even more than 13. Mariners scored 13 runs on 17 hits, 3 walks, and they only struck out 3 times. They got Jack Leiter out after 4 and a third innings. He threw 89 pitches, so it wasn't the type of thing where he was out early because of injury or anything like that, because he was on a pitch count from coming back from his blister. No, he threw his full pitch count, and he was out after 4 and a third. He gave up 8 hits, 6 runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. And 5 of those 6 runs were Cal Raleigh. Cal Raleigh was dominant in game 1. He carried the Mariners early in the game. He goes solo homer down the right field line, 432, 110 miles an hour off the bat. A few innings later, he then gets a pitch, curveball, 2-2 curve, below the zone. Really, actually good spot, an execution by Leiter. And Cal Raleigh just golfs it. Truly, it's like a 9-iron out to right field. 387, 104.8 off the bat. It was a grand slam. Mariners take a 5-0 lead on that. And from that point on, you're just rolling. Mariners have a huge 5th inning. And for Texas, all downhill from there. And geez, the joy with which it was watching the Mariners play that ball game. Mariners scored 7 runs in the 5th inning. And they were unstoppable. Again, 17 hits, 13 runs is no joke, even if it is against a couple struggling bullpen arms in Jack Leiter. I mean, Jack Leiter he's a solid starter. Now, he hasn't been that good this year, but that's a guy that has dominant stuff. He throws really hard, has good velocity, and the Mariners hit him around. And it was really good to see. Another thing that was really good to see, Julio home run. Goes dead center, full count, middle 3, 93 mile an hour fastball right down the dick. He goes 431, 108.8 off the bat, again to dead center, and that's another thing that's really good to see. And overall, just a really good game for the Mariners and the Mariners offense, and that's the type of game that you're not used to seeing from the Mariners. The Saturday game felt like more of a Mariners game, and that gave shades of 2022. Stuff like that. But boy, oh boy, was Friday night's game. A lot of fun to watch. A lot of fun to it's a lot of fun to talk about. Just so positive. Just going through the box score. J.P. Crawford 2 for 6, 2 RBIs. Jorge Polanco 1 for 2 with a walk. Mitch Garver 1 for 2 with a walk. Julio Rodriguez 2 for 4 without a strikeout and 2 RBIs there. He also scored 2 runs. Samad Taylor 0 for 2. Cal Raleigh 2 for 4, 5 ribbies. Randy Rosarena 1 for 3 with a walk and a strikeout. Leo Rivas 0 for 1. Rowdy Tellez 3 for 5 with an RBI. Mastroboni 2 for 5. Williamson 2 for 5 with a ribby. Rylan Thomas 1 for 4 with a couple RBIs. I mean, just domination from the Mariners on Friday night. And it started with Brian Wu on the bump and ended with the offense getting 13 runs on 17 hits and just batting around and just torching Game 1 against the Rangers. Game 2, a lot better of a game for the Rangers. You're going 1-1 as you head to the 9th. But before we get there, there's definitely some stuff we got to mention. Leadoff homer for J.P. Crawford. Let's start with the positives. Leadoff homer, J.P. Crawford. Luis Castillo with a good start. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run. It was earned. 2 walks, 2 Ks. Good start. He was getting outs. He didn't give up a ton of hits, didn't give up a ton of base runners. That's all you can ask for. 1 run over 6. That's a quality start. He handed it over to the back end of your bullpen. It was night 1 for Brash back. You went Brash, Spire, Munoz. They had really solid outings, all 3 of them. 3 innings. They gave up 1 hit. It was Brash that gave up the hit. And then it was in a double play. You got the out. No runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts for the pen. 3 scoreless innings. And none of them really looked their best. Brash was sitting only like 94, 95, I believe. But a very, very Mariners game. I mean, the game itself gave shades of 2022 Mariners. That's what I felt like, at least. But just in terms of maybe some negative stuff, Donovan Solano grounded a double play, bases loaded, 1 out, top first. He grounds into a double play. And you have the starter on the ropes first inning, and you sort of let him get out. And that's the type of thing that the 2023, 2024 Mariners, both teams like that, they did that a lot, and it caused problems. But Luis Castillo, really solid start. The bullpen, really, really solid. The Mariners give up 1 run total of the game. Go in top 9, it's tied 1-1. Leadoff double by Jorge Polanco. Ben Williamson, good at bat. He moves the runner ahead with a little ground out to second base, I believe. And then Rowdy Tellez comes up in the clutch, RBI single to give the Mariners the lead. Hand the ball to Munoz for the bottom of the 9th, who shuts down the Rangers. Doesn't really have much stress of it. And the Mariners go on to win Game 2 after winning Game 1 big. And you got 2 very different wins there, but 2 very important wins. 2 wins that are very good to see. 2 very positive wins. And it leads you to 8 straight series wins. It leads you to knocking the Rangers down in the standings. You're now 4 games up of Texas, 2 games up of Oakland, 3 games up of the Astros. You have the best record in the American League at this point, except for Texas, I guess, or except for the Tigers. But you got a .606 winning percentage. For second there, you were first. The Tigers have a .629. They've played 2 more games than the Mariners have. But other than that, Mariners are far and away best team in terms of record in the American League. Yankees 19-15. They're the only one really close. But Mariners are rolling. 12-6 at home, 8-7 on the road. 8-2 in their last 10. The Mariners are playing good baseball. Their offense is rolling. The pitching is doing what it needs to do with Logan Gilbert, George Kirby gone. Other news around that, George Kirby throws in a rehab outing yesterday and looks ridiculously filthy. Obviously, it's going to take multiple rehabs, but to see him back on the mound, really good to see. Hopefully that continues. Progress continues to be made, and you get him back ASAP. And all of a sudden, you're looking like a really dangerous team if this offense can continue anywhere close to this pace. Maybe you can get Julio to start carrying the back a little bit, and then you can have some of these role players fall back to earth. Or maybe they won't, and maybe you're just going to be an elite offense in terms of around the league for the entire season. It's hard to know. Again, it's still early. We're just at May 5th now. but the boys are playing really good baseball. It's really fun to win. Jeez, it's really fun to watch. It's fun to watch them win. And these are wins that you could look back at in October and be like, these are wins that helped the Mariners get to the postseason. These are the wins that really pushed them over the top and separated them from the 2023-2024 Mariners, even the 2022 or 2021 Mariners. This is the first time where you're really dominant in April and you've had a really good month and you're in first place at the start of May. And obviously the Mariners had the 10-game lead in first place in July-ish last year, but they blew that. But it's still early. Like I said, stuff can change. But the way this team is playing has been amazing to see. And there's a path to continue playing like this. And it doesn't even mean the offense has to continue at this pace. You could see the pitching start to sort of carry the load, carry the brunt a little bit. And then the offense bounce back. But if you have an offense playing like this with that rotation, you're going to do damage around the league. That's the type of formula that could not only go win the American League West for the first time since 2001, but that's the type of team that could win the very first American League pennant, not to jump too far ahead, in Mariners history. That team would be that potentially good. Obviously, it's possible to fall back down to earth, but let's hope it doesn't happen. It's fun to watch. It's fun to see the Mariners do well, and it's really good to see. Game 3, it's sort of just a wipe day. Unfortunate to see Mariners go down, kind of get blown out a little bit, but again, you're facing Jacob deGrom. You got the rookie Logan Evans with his second career start, and he has a tough inning there. But you've already won the series. The Sunday game doesn't matter. Obviously, a sweep would be nice, but all that you need to do is win series. If you win series consistently, you're going to be in October fighting for something bigger than just a wild card spot or a division championship. You're going to be fighting for big stuff. You're going to be in a spot that this team maybe has never been in. And I'm not going to say that's going to happen, but it's possible when you're playing the way that you are and when you're winning series. That's all you have to do. Continuing on, let's get into a little preview of the A's series against the Mariners. Game 1, Bryce Miller, Luis Severino. Game 2, Emerson Hancock, Jeffrey Springs. Game 3, Brian Wu against, there's actually not a scheduled starter yet for the A's, but Brian Wu, so that's a very winnable game. I think you're going to want to target Game 1, Game 3 here to win, and maybe Emerson Hancock can have another good start, and if he does that, then maybe you can go for a sweep, or maybe you can sneak that one and maybe lose one of the other ones, but again, all you have to do, win series. Can you get your 9th straight series win? It's going to be difficult. This is a really pesky A's team with good, solid pitching. You're in a weird ballpark where you're not going to feel comfortable because you've never played there before, but it's interesting. I think I'm excited to see what this ball club can do. I'm excited to watch the team tonight, excited to watch them tomorrow, excited to watch them Wednesday. It should be a blast. But previewing Game 1, Luis Severino, Bryce Miller, as I said. Hopefully we can get a bounce-back start from Bryce. Like I talked about last week, the thing he needs to do is find the top rail of the strike zone with his fastball. If he can start to do that, he's going to find success. If he can find command, he's going to find success, and you could see a big start for him. And you need that. If you can get Bryce Miller back on track, this team is going to do a lot of damage. Because all of a sudden, you got him and Brian Wu both in that rotation with George Kirby on the way back. Logan Gilbert was seen throwing for the first time, I think, yesterday. He's on the road back. You get that rotation back intact of those 4 guys plus Luis Castillo, and all of a sudden, again, damage season. But Luis Severino, the Mariners faced him earlier this season. Let's talk about it. 4-seam fastball, 27%, sinker, 26%, sweeper, 23%, cutter, 17%. He also has a slider and a changeup, which he throws about 4% each. He's been really good at limiting barrels, walks. He has found a lot of value with his fastball, 98th percentile in that, with a run value of 7 with that fastball, 78th percentile in barrel percent, 5.2%, 66th percentile in walk percentage, 7.1%, where he struggled with strikeout and he's gotten hit a little bit hard. 9th percentile in whiff, 17.8%, 27th percentile in K, 18.1%, and 32nd percentile in hard hit rate, 43.7%. If you want a comparison on that, very similar to Emerson Hancock. Again, 9th percentile in whiff for Severino. For Hancock, he's in the 14th percentile. In terms of strikeout, 27th for Severino. For Hancock, 31st. In terms of hard hit, 32nd for Luis Severino, 76th for Emerson Hancock. So there's a big difference there, but the first two very close to each other. And if you're thinking about that, that means you're going to make contact. And in the ballpark that they're playing in, that could deal damage. That could be big time. You could be hitting a lot of homers. You could be doing damage against this guy. In terms of the ballpark itself, the dimensions themselves are actually pretty similar to T-Mobile, at least down the lines into center. Down the left field line 330, down the right field line 325, to center 403. But the air is not marine layer. It means the ball is going to fly. And just in terms of what Luis Severino has done at home, he has struggled. We'll get into the splits later, but just two blow up starts at home after facing the Mariners. Both of these were at the start of April. The Cubbies, April 6th, 6 innings, gives up 6 runs. Actually, not April 6th, both at the beginning of April. 6 runs over 6 innings against the Cubs. He's getting innings, but giving up a lot of runs in these two starts. 7 innings, 5 runs against the Padres in his very next start. In terms of just ERA, 5.11 at home, 0.95 away. We'll get into more splits later, but just keep those in the back of your head. There is a big splits difference, and the ballpark will play against Luis Severino. Let's talk about his fastball. Fastball is averaging 95.8 miles an hour. There's just 3 extra base hits against it all season, 10 hits total. But the expected numbers, very, very different. 553 x slug, 323 expected batting average, 395 x WOBA. WOBA's only 302. In terms of slug, 256, or 385. In terms of batting average, 256. So the difference between these is pretty stark. Again, if you want to think about those pretty closely, slug, 385, x slug, 553. Batting average against 256, X batting average 323, WOBA 302, X WOBA 395. It feels like he's due to get a little bit rocked with that fastball. And maybe he's not going to throw it as much, maybe he is, but if he throws that fastball, Mariners make contact, you're going to get fly balls. In terms of what Luis Severino has done or what hitters have done against Luis Severino, 59% in the air, 23% of those fly balls, 29% of those were line drives. He's giving up a lot of line drives. And if you want to compare that to Luis Castillo, in air percentage, less than Luis Severino, 53.4 for Castillo, 59.3 for Severino. In terms of fly ball percentage of that, 23 for Severino, 29 for Luis Castillo. In terms of line drive, 29 for Severino and only 17 for Castillo. You're going to see line drives. You're going to see the ball hit hard. You're going to see fly balls. The question is, can the Mariners square it up? Can they barrel it up? And can they get it out of the ballpark? And it feels like he's a little bit due for that to happen. And I'm not saying it's going to happen tonight. I'm not going to say it's going to happen against the Mariners. But it feels like it's due to happen, and it's only a matter of time. Continuing on with that same thing, if you want to look at Bryce Miller, also in comparison to those same stats, air percentage, 65.8. Severino, again, 59.3. Fly ball for Bryce Miller, 24. For Severino, it's 23, sorry. Line drive, Bryce Miller has been 31. Severino's been 29. So Bryce Miller's gotten squared up quite a lot. He's giving up some homers. He's giving up some fly balls. And Severino's been pretty similar. So you're going to see fly balls tonight. You're going to see line drives tonight. The question is how much of that's going to go out and if it's going to be a little bit of a shootout. And it seems like that could be possible. I could also see it going the other way because both of these starters are also very good and have the potential to be very good. Just they haven't seen results really be that way. Specifically, Bryce Severino has, but the X numbers, the advanced numbers, don't look quite as good for Severino as they would for Bryce. And for Severino, 19.3% pulled in the air, and you're going to see fly balls pulled to left field, to right field. I think a spot where the Mariners could take advantage is some lefties pulling the ball. That's Jorge Polanco. That is Cal Raleigh. That is J.P. Crawford. Can those 3 guys, even Rowdy Tellez, can those guys get in front of a fastball, pull it to right field where it's 325 down the line, hit a fly ball, hit a line drive, get the ball out? Can it happen? What Severino has been good at, though, is eating innings. 6 innings, 6 innings, 7 innings, 5 and 2/3 innings, 8 innings, 6 innings, 5 innings. This is a guy that's going to eat innings. He might give up some runs, especially at home, but he's going to eat innings. He's going to make it difficult for you. He's going to throw his fastball. He's going to mix his four seam and his sinker a lot. But if you get that four seam, hit the four seam. Again, if we want to go look at home and away splits, 5.11 ERA at home, 0.95 away from home. 1.46 home runs per 9 at home. 0 home runs per 9 away from home. If you want to talk FIP in just general and ERA in general, 3.71 FIP, 3.99 xFIP, 3.30 ERA, 4.21 xERA. Again, I can see this guy having a blow-up start sometime soon. All of these numbers lead me to that conclusion. It's just a matter of when. And will it happen tonight when he's at Sutter Health Park? Or will it not be tonight? And will it be against a different team? In terms of home runs per fly ball, only about 9% this year. In the past, last year, 12.3, 20.9 the year before that, 13.9 the year before that. Again, it's just the dude's somehow not letting these fly balls get out of the ballpark, and it feels like he's a little bit due for that to happen. Also, BABIP against only 260. Another thing that feels like it's just bound to go up because it should go up. You're not going to have opponents hitting 260 against you on batting on balls in play very often. You're going to have that closer to 300 more often than not. It feels like he's due to give up runs, to have a blow-up start. Hopefully it's tonight. I'll be crossing my fingers. Look for how the Mariners attack that fastball. That is the question that I think you'll look at. Can you lay off the sweeper? Can you keep the sinker off the ground? And can you hit the fastball? That's what you got to do. Game 2. Emerson Hancock, Jeffrey Springs. Let's talk Jeffrey Springs. Jeffrey Springs has been actually pretty good this year. In terms of advanced stuff, his most simple stats don't look that good. His ERA is almost 5, yet his xERA 3.72. His FIP 4.82. His xFIP is actually higher, 5.13. If you don't know what FIP is, also just mention it. It's fielding independent pitching, I believe. And basically, it's an ERA scaled stat that accounts only for what the pitcher can control. So home runs, walks, strikeouts. Those are basically what it talks about. So that's what FIP is doing. ERA, of course, takes into account every run against. So it's earned runs per every 9 innings. But Jeffrey Springs, he's been really, really good at limiting hard hit. He's been good at limiting high exit velos, which, of course, those two things make sense going together. And he's getting chased. 93rd percentile hard hit, 29.6%. 88th percentile in average exit velocity, 86.4%. 69th percentile in chase, 30.3%. He's doing all these things well. Can the Mariners lay off? Can they stay away from chasing that changeup, which is probably his best pitch, especially to right-handed hitters? And can you get some of these left-handed hitters? Can you get JP Crawford to sort of not have to face that changeup and lay off the slider, hit the fastball? Can he get on base? What Springs has struggled to do so far is get ground balls, get strikeouts, and he's given up walks. If you want the percentiles and numbers on those, 8th percentile in ground ball, 30%. 24th percentile in walk, 11%. 28th percentile in strikeout, 18%. So he's getting chased. He's just not getting strikeout. And it's probably partially due to just not getting a whole lot of whiff. I can't look for sure. Let's take a look. Yeah, he's about league average at getting whiff while he's getting chased above league average. He is just slightly below league average at getting whiff, which is leading him not to get a whole lot of strikeouts because stuff in the zone is getting hit, especially his fastball. His fastball has been getting hit pretty well, and that's what he throws majority of the time. He is 46% fastball, 24% slider, 24% change, about 4% sweeper, and about 2% cutter, mostly against left-handed hitters. It will be four-seam slider. Against right-handed hitters, you're going to get four-seam change a lot. You're also going to see the slider a little bit, especially back-footed. So watch for how that changeup's working. Can the Mariners do what they often can't do and face a lefty with a really good changeup, and can they hit him? That's the question. Springs was really good against the Mariners earlier this year, but that was when the Mariners were struggling. They've now seen him once. What will that look like? The changeup is pretty exclusively to right-handed hitters, as I said. The fastball has been hit very, very hard. 375 slug against the fastball. 667 WOBA against the fastball. 375 average slug, 667 WOBA, 451. That makes a lot more sense. His best pitch has been his changeup. 40% whiff against the changeup, 154 batting average, 269 slug, 211 WOBA, and the expected numbers just back all those things up. 207 expected batting average, 304 expected slug, 246 expected weighted on base average, expected WOBA. He's giving up a lot of fly balls, similar to Severino. About 70% in the air. 29% of those fly balls, 27% of those line drives. So he's getting pop-ups more than Severino is, and he's giving up less line drives than Severino is. But what that means is all it takes is his pitch is having a little bit less break, or the Mariners squaring him up a little bit better than maybe the average team, and you're getting balls out of the ballpark. He's also walking a lot of hitters. 4.46 walks per nine. That's the most in his career easily. He's averaging 3.13 in his career, and that's including this year. So, take with that what you want. You want ERA, xERA, FIP, stuff like that. ERA, 4.98. xERA, 3.72. FIP, 4.82. xFIP, 5.13. So again, we talked about this already, but he's underperforming his FIP, which means maybe he'll get hit around a little bit better, but he's also playing a lot, or his pitching worse. His ERA looks worse than it should be according to expected stats. He has a 262 BABIP against, so again, you can see that come a little bit better. He also gave up 7 runs to the White Sox not that long ago, which is a little bit crazy, but he has thrown 6 innings the past 2 starts, and including a really good start against Texas, where he went 6 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 1 strikeout, and he faced the Mariners earlier this season, and he was good. If you want the numbers on that, excuse me. If you want the numbers on that, he went 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts. That is the most he's had in any game so far. Other than that, he's had 19 strikeouts other than those 9. So he is his numbers are being a little bit carried by the Mariners. So take with that what you will. But the Mariners are in a spot where I think you could see some success. And I'm excited to see what they can do, because I think that game 1 specifically, they definitely could see some success. Game 2, it'll be interesting to watch that. I think, again, they could see success. But Springs also could do really well, because he has been worse than really he probably should be, because he's better than that. But we'll see. It's a really interesting series. It's a pretty important series. The A's are 2 games back. You could get up to 3 if you win the series. You could get up to, 5 games up if you sweep the series. And if you lose the series, you're down to only 1 game ahead. So it's a pretty big series. You could go for your 9th straight series win and come back home, hopefully getting your 10th. But let's not jump ahead of ourselves. But again, go Mariners as always. Let's see what they can do. I'm excited to see what they can do. I think they can do some damage against this Oakland ball club, but it is a scrappy team. So it will be very interesting. Thank you all so much for listening. This has been episode 60 seconds of On the Diamond and Into the Deep. Let me just make sure. Something just happened on Twitter, I think. Whoa. Okay. Texas Rangers just hired Brett Boone as their hitting coach. Very interesting. Former Mariner Brett Boone. That is very interesting. Just checking Twitter, make sure. Yordan Alvarez just went on the IL with right hand inflammation. Shota Imanaga on the IL. Okay, anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. This has been episode 62 of On the Diamond and Into the Deep. As always, if you haven't already, follow the socials at Diamond and Deep on Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, TikTok, all of that. We'll be posting on all of those. As always, also, go Mariners. Let's get some wins here. And leave a like, subscribe, follow, all that jazz. If you haven't listened to last week's episodes, go listen. We previewed the Angel series. We recapped the Angel series. We talked about Jorge Polanco, JP Crawford, Bryce Miller, Julio Rodriguez. There was a lot going on last week. So if you've missed any of those episodes, go give a listen. Randy Rosarena was talked about. Luke Raley was talked about. Dylan Moore was talked about. Logan Evans, Logan Gilbert talked about. So go give those listens if you haven't already. As always, I'm your host, Mahal. And as always, go Nerds and peace.